Hello, hello. I'm going to test this out today. I did a podcast the other day for about 36 minutes. And when I went to process it, it told me I needed to make space. So I was like, no, this was my best one yet. I say that about every one of them, but it was really good. But then I saw it as a way I'm getting practice, right? So I turned it into a plus. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to try the live stream. Maybe the live stream will work for now. They are my platform that I stream all these from Podbean. It's not going to have the live feature anymore. I don't know why, but I love it. I love talking. I love talking with people. I love speaking in front of a group of people that I know are going to walk in one way, leave transformed. And I have seen it. I've heard it. I have the testimonials. I received one from Isaiah Shaw, an avid listener, an amazing person. And he has done something that I had no idea. And this is just one person out of many that when I receive testimonials, which by the way, I'm opening up the door. I would love to hear from you how this show has transformed your life. What has happened for you since you started listening? When you first started listening, how were you? How was your life going? How were things, certain things that we talk about in here? How was that? And now, what has it been for you? What has it been like for you during listening to the show? And then what has happened to your life since you have been listening to the show? I would love to hear it, even if it's just one thing. And it's a chance for you to also celebrate yourself. And Isaiah Shaw sent me a testimonial. He's an amazing, amazing person. And he said that since listening to my show, he went on to become a head chef, which he has been working on for a decade, for 10 years. And I was like, what? I had no clue. And he has been implementing things that he has been listening to. And I don't know how long he's been listening to my podcast, but back in February of 2026, this year, is when I received that, because I did a 3-part series. It's in February. It's Clearing the Clutter. I heard something profound from an amazing friend and mentor about clearing the clutter. And I got these downloads. So I just came in here and did a 3-part series, and I could very well take them down and package them up and sell them. So sell them for like $99. Okay. So get out there and go listen if you haven't done so already. Plus, these podcast episodes are mini classes. So let's just say you paid to be in this space. Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. But I bring it to you because I love sharing ways that you can start implementing today, not tomorrow. So today's episode, you don't have time to waste. So this is for you if you are a leader in business, in your career. If you lead the show in your home, mainly I'm referencing people who are in career. Healthcare, high performers in healthcare career. I'm speaking to you today, right? I also know that this platform is probably going to change directions, because I realize that who I'm speaking to, right? I'm primarily speaking to a specific group of people, but what I'm sharing today, you can also apply in your life. And today we're talking about how you show up, the cup that you're pouring from, the cup that you are sharing your energy from. By the way, the cup that you show up with every single day to your environment, whether that's in your home or your career. Leaders, people who lead, bosses, directors, I'm talking to you, supervisors. How you show up is crucial. You're either going to show up and contagiously share your energy of disappointment, detriment, lack of boundaries, tiredness, brain fog, burnout. Everything is a to-do list. It's driven, and you might not even know how do you know how your team clicks? Do you know what makes them tick? Do you know that about your staff? Do you know that about the people that show up to your environment every day and show up? Do you know that they're waiting for you as a leader to step up to the plate and lead? Not in a way that causes people to exit, okay? I am a bold person. There is no other way to say take out the trash. So either you're leading with transformation, you're leading in an energetic fashion that's building confidence, not just within yourself, but within the people that show up there. By the way, if you're not showing up with confidence, what are you showing up with? Are you showing up exhausted, tired? Are you dehydrated? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you eating protein? By the way, those are all sustainable measures in how you show up. Are you showing up tired, busy? Everything is performance metrics, bottom line. I don't care how my staff is doing in their personal life. I just care that they bring in the money. But if you yourself are showing up with a contagious cup of detriment, and now you're spreading it to your environment, how do you expect your team to lead? How do you expect your team to show up? The people that clock in because of you. I realize that my messaging has been shifting, and I didn't realize that it's been it's like smacked me right in the middle of my face, like for a really long time, right? I didn't realize that the very things that I'm talking about are the very things I've been talking about. The identity, the energy, the confidence. I thought I was talking to a specific group of people like high performers in healthcare or people in foster care. Now, I did grow up in foster care my whole entire life. That is the foundation of how I do what I do. And everywhere I've gone, the, what's it called? The piece, the, not the missing piece, but the large part of the problem everywhere I have been in my life are the people that are put in a position to lead. There has been, I have over 3 decades of experience in the career world. I have been under leaders who, some were amazing, okay? Others, a large percentage. And I saw the gaps. I saw the problems I saw. And yet I thought it was me because there's an underlying messaging that's put on employees or people that show up as if they're the reason that the leader can't lead. It also happened to me growing up in foster care. I was blamed for the behaviors, the abusive behaviors of every caretaker that took care of me. There were maybe a few that I can count on my fingers that did not mistreat me or mishandle me. They actually showed me some things that I picked up that I can lead that way. But 95, I want to say 90 to 95% of every foster parent, every person that led me, every caretaker, every person in charge, this included teachers. Maybe there were some teachers that were okay. But for the most part, every person that had a leadership quality title failed. So I've seen firsthand what happens when a leader doesn't put themselves first. I have seen what happens when a leader runs on empty all darn day. They're not hydrated. They're not eating. I would have to say, what on earth? How can you stay sustained? You can't have sharp focus if your body's on empty. If you're running on fumes, guess who else is running on fumes? Your team. You got the position, but then what happened? Where are you? Your identity, by the way, how you see yourself is how you'll carry yourself in the environment. How you're leading your team is essential. So that empty cup, showing up on an empty cup, I want to ask you how that's working. How's that working for you? Now, if you're a leader who's also leading some type of capacity and you're finding that your team is leaving, that's not a them problem. That's where you got to take a good hard look, take the accountability, take the responsibility, and then make changes. It's not up to your team or your staff to make changes. I see it all the time, but then internally, the staff are walking around with this like feeling of low self-worth because if they make a mistake, they're afraid they're going to get in trouble. If they don't accomplish their to-do list and their tasks, they're going to get in trouble. Now, leaders, yes, you're slapped on with a ton of stuff that you've got to do. This is where delegation comes in wonderful, but also allowing your team to fly and make mistakes. It's how they learn the lessons instead of pointing out the problem. By the way, if you're having a low level of leadership, there's ways to up your leadership game. Everyone wants to be the leader. There's the follow the leader. It's a game we played, right? Follow the leader. But if the leader is burned out, numbed out, exhausted, not putting themselves first, not taking care of themselves, if their boundaries are lacking, no boundaries, the communication is off, how do you expect? So if you're leading in that capacity, how do you expect your team or your environment that you're running or leading, how do you expect them to be on their optimal A game if you're not? It starts at the top. Now, this is what people hire me for. I'm in the process of putting together piecing things together. I myself, out of over 3 decades in the career healthcare field, including administrative work, I've got I've got the qualifications, I've got the experience. I do have a college degree, but it's it was medical dental front office systems. I went to a business college. But I am here to tell you a degree doesn't mean I'm qualified to do the job. It helps. I do have my coaching certification that I got about 5 years ago, but I have been coaching people longer than 5 years. I just did get a certification. So I am qualified. It's my experience. It's also seeing what happens when leaders are walking in with an empty cup. You can pretend that you're all joyful and happy and put on a fake facade like most leaders do. But let's face it, if there is not an awareness of why you're feeling empty or why you're feeling off guard or why you're feeling, whatever you're feeling, it's up to you to find that. And by the way, something that I do with my clients is I walk them through this with AI. I use AI to come up with a plan so that you can like steer clear of freaking burnout. Because if you're in burnout, guess who else is in burnout? Your team. Now, I'm not speaking to people who want to continue doing what they're doing and make no changes. I'm not speaking to people who have gotten away with this type of leadership behavior with no desire to move forward. I'm not talking to those folks. I'm talking to the ones who are ready to like stop burning themselves out on to-do lists. Being able to set a boundary with your boss so that you can be free to lead in an energized, optimized fashion. You can exhale, right? I did. The expectations that's placed on you should not be transferred over to your team, but how can you create a team of people that actually want to be there? Do you know the people that walk into your establishment? Do you know what makes them tick? Do you know how they click in the information that they're receiving? Do you know what clicks for them? Do you have people that ask questions and you shut them down? I'm telling you, this is something that it's the little things that's missed. But things don't have to always be on empty. Your energy doesn't have to run its course by 11 a.m. and be done for the day. You don't have to, how your team acts is not a personalized thing. But if you have a team of people that are showing up burned out, numbed out, not wanting to be there, complaining, a lot of gossip, a lot of drama, and and they're unhappy, they look like they're pissed off, like they don't want to be there. This is not where you hold up the mirror to them. You hold up the mirror to yourself. But you gotta want the change. You gotta get to a point of saying something's not working, but you also have to take accountability and responsibility. So showing up on the empty cup, that's only going to work for a short moment. And then if you start noticing, like there's a lot of places that have a high turnover, right? Here is what I am not asking you to do. I am not asking you as a person in a leadership position. This could be anywhere, primarily in healthcare. I'm not asking you to to be friends with everyone. There's a line that gets crossed when you come off as when you act, um, when you try to be friends with the people that you're leading. There's a line that you just can't cross. And I've seen it crossed. And then there are some things that happen in an environment where certain people who are friends, in quotations, with the upper, leaders, there's favoritism that happens. There's things that happen that it's like, why is this happening? And it happens everywhere, not just in one specific environment. You can be friends with people, but there's got to be a line that's not crossed where they still respect you. So when you have to have a conversation with them, they're not holding you, you know, they're not blaming you for their actions. There's got to be accountability and responsibility, but it comes on both ends. It starts at the top. Your cup starts with you. And by the way, this is what people hire me for. Corporations. This is the thing that I have. I'm going to read this actually. I created a one-page, as a speaker and facilitator, a burnout prevention, boundaries and energy leadership for high performers in healthcare. I'm talking to you, leaders. Leadership. Yes, we all want the title, but there's a lot that comes with it that I wasn't even aware. But after looking at the different nuances of leadership, I've noticed the same theme going on. So core topics that I cover that you hire me for is burnout prevention, boundaries and self-trust, energy leadership, identity reclamation, workplace pressure, leading without losing yourself, and more. That's just a little bit. But boundaries and self-trust is a huge one. Burnout prevention, there's things that can be changed so that you can lead with clarity and confidence. Yes. So ways that I can support you are through keynote speaking or workshops and facilitation, team training. I do have a podcast. Of course, I'm talking on it. And there will be a time where I do have guests on my podcast and healthcare leadership events. Did you know that a lot of the trainings that happen don't teach people how to lead from a full cup? They don't even teach people what I'm talking about. A lot of the trainings that's put out there are only for metrics and so that the place can't get sued. And a lot of the trainings are filled with donuts and carbs and boring topics that honestly don't bring change. They don't bring transformation because even in mini meetings, whatever you want to call them, okay, if there there are things that's not bringing the type of transformation you want to your team that's causing them to want to transform the place, right? By the way, you have different people working under you, different people working for you. Do you know what makes them tick and click? Do you know how they process information? There's a book called The Ideal Team Player. It's by Tom Lencioni. That is a book I recommend every leader, every person who's in leadership buy. And if you're a person who's employed somewhere, you can get the book too because it also applies to you. Because there are 3 things that make a team player: humility, gotta stay hungry, and people smarts. 3 top things that make people a team player. And in a leadership position, it is up to you to bring that out of people. Excuse me, and to know who the top people are and who the people are that are robbing your environment of growth and transformation. By the way, it's okay to let those people go. There are people that you have on your team right now that are employed or working in your environment that you're leading in some capacity that is bringing the environment down. But if you're tolerating that as a leader, guess what? It's only a matter of time before the fire takes out the entire department. And before you know it, you've got problems, issues like drama on your hands. Drama because the culture isn't stated at the top. The culture isn't known. The value system isn't known. In this department, we don't gossip. We go to the person first. If you're finding that you're having an issue going to the person, then you can come to us and we can figure out a way for you to be able to talk to the person. Or I can be a third party and I can be we'll call it a facilitator, but there are reasons why gossip is happening. But if the people who are leading environments, teams of people, bosses, directors, whatever the leadership title you have, if your culture allows gossip and you yourself are gossiping, I have witnessed people in a leadership position gossip about their employees, gossip about the people that they lead. And I'm like, that is unacceptable. That is a low level of leadership. Unacceptable. You should not be gossiping, period. And by the way, this is not designated towards one specific place. I'm bringing over 3 decades. That's over 30 years of my experience and what I've experienced and what I've seen. I have been also a recipient of leaders who have also gotten an aggressive tone and used manipulative behavior to keep themselves in the clear when they're the ones who caused the problem. And I'm like, no, that's just not going to work. First off, integrity. You know, the 3 things: humility. Humility is when people take accountability, say, you know what, you're right. I was wrong and I'm sorry. Yeah, that's it. Not trying to make yourself look good, not making excuses, not unspoken messages of blaming. I don't know why I held back talking about this. I've had people that have said to me how I need to speak to show up and how to be seen so people will hire me. And I'm like, so you want me to dumb myself down, water myself down so I'm polished so that people will hire a version of me that's not even me? So if I do accidentally step into who I am and that bold, audacious person that doesn't speak in a nice fashion shows up, they're going to be confused. Like, well, you're not who we hired. Well, I know, but I had to act this way because I was told that I had to show up this way, but I don't speak in a polished fashion. I've tried. It doesn't work. I feel like I've dumbed myself down. So the things that I'm sharing with you today, you could immediately turn into a training. And by the way, you can hire me for team trainings. You can even hire me for for like lengthy, like 6 to 12 month contractual terms where every month I come in, and mostly what I do is virtual. If it's local in my area, I could probably travel, but for right now, it's all done virtually. There's a Zoom, there's things called Zoom, or I have a voice-led space. Excuse me. Or I have a voice-led space that I can create where your team is put in there, and so are you. And it's like through Telegram, and you put me on blast, and I get to train your team. But first, I get to I also host leadership trainings because let's face it, it starts with you. It starts with you. It really does. It starts with the leader, starts at the top. And if the top is burned out, numbed out, isn't setting boundaries, isn't happy to be there, is under stress, chaos, it's going to show up. It's going to show up in different ways. But it doesn't have to be like that anymore. It doesn't have to stay that way. That's the whole thing. And if you're looking for solutions, by the way, one of the things that I do, I know I shared this throughout today's podcast, but I use AI to tailor things to create for you, tailored to what it is that you are specifically dealing with in our conversations. So I'll find stuff out as in our conversations, you'll be asked a series of questions, and, I will find out areas in which you are looking to, you're ready to change. So I use AI to help us, and then you get a tailored action plan that you can immediately put into practice, but it's a process. So one of the things that I tell leaders is, what are your expectations? I want you to release those, because you cannot take what I'm telling you today and expect your team to change, because change actually starts with you. So it's best that you, as the leader, apply this first and implement it into your own life. And by the way, the tips that you're given that you implement can be used outside, because it will spill over into your own personal life. Because when your personal life is filled with boundaries and you're not operating on burnout and chaos, and you have the awareness and the tools to implement, you will go farther. You will have the inner strength to keep going. That's how it works. I've also done it in my own life. I don't have a title, but I do lead. People look to me as a leader. I don't brag about that to, just get business, but in my environment, I have grown myself, grown my capacity, grown my skills, and that is why I am now moving outside of corporate for myself, and I'm moving into becoming as I mentioned, we'll call it I'm a burnout prevention unicorn guru. I have the experience, and I myself learn new things all the time. So that's what I bring to you, because let's face it, a lot of people are running on empty. You owe it to yourself first to not run on empty anymore. And then you can take your not running on empty, it trickles down, but it starts with you. So thank you so much for listening to this today. By the way, if you are a leader, and if you are like a CEO or one of those top titled folks, this is what you hire me for. And then when we talk on the phone, we discuss packages, pricing, and also length of time. And I find out what you need. So then it's tailored to you and what your establishment needs. And so, yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. And by the way, go get that book on Amazon, The Ideal Team Player. It's by Tom Lencioni. I promise you, the way you lead won't be the same after today. And so that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. And oh, I did want to mention this is also my business card. So by listening to this is how you get to decide on that you will be hiring me as well. And so I'm putting it out there because it's time, you know, because there's only so many places that I myself can continue to apply for where leadership needs a better cup. You know what I mean? And it's like, wow, how can I get in there and bring a massive change, right? How can I facilitate that? And this is how I do that. And you get a bold, no nonsense person who has the experience, who has the skills. I have been an employee. I have also been a leader. I have run offices. I have been a trainer. I have trained people. I love training people. Do you want to know one of the top things that that lets people know that they are amazing in their training is telling them. Also, whenever you see something that they're doing that they might not know is a mistake, this is say you can just go up to them and say, "Oh my gosh, I want to tell you something you're doing so amazing and I have a training moment," or I put it in the form of training moment with Tiff. Even though I've already trained and I let them know, "Hey, you're doing fantastic. Keep going." It's all about the skills, right? So that's it. So I want to say thank you so much for listening. By the way, if you are in leadership and you're listening to this, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to take it a step further. I invite you to share this specific podcast episode with your people. And I want you to listen and take notes. Don't listen from a place of defensiveness, but you're there to bring change, right? You want to keep your employees. You want your revolving door to stop and people exiting your